kind of budget, especially after.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. This is the meeting of Livingston Parish Council. It's the regular meeting, September 27, 2018. Could everyone please rise? Mr. King.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Parish President Lee Briggs to say a prayer for us, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, we ask your blessings be upon every decision we make, and that we always seek and follow your will. We ask, Lord, for safety for everyone that's traveled here tonight, Lord, that they be safe going home. Forgive us, Lord, where we have failed. Be with us this day and every day. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Bubba Harris, lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Sandy, call roll, please.
Mr. Washington, Mr. Harris,
Here.
Mr. Ard,
Here.
Mr. Averett, Mr. Lobel, Mr. Mack,
Here.
Mr. Girlinghouse,
Here.
Mr. Talbert,
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
I'd like to remind everyone, if you have a cell phone, to please mute it or turn it off. Public input, anyone wishing to address an agenda item, when we come to it, please come to the podium, state your name and address. We'll give you 3 minutes to speak on it. All right, we're going to move down to 9, Parish President's Report. I think this is going to be with Mr. Jim Ryan.
Jim,
How come he gets special thing, right?
Thank you, Chairman.
Way more we are. You think?
We're here tonight to ask for a resolution in support of, we've been granted Go Mesa funds, the opportunity to get Go Mesa funds. It's a 20-year payout of roughly $700,000 a year, or upfront one time, which is what most parishes are going to lump sum, and there are several reasons for doing that. This money is really restricted as to how it can be used, and second, there's already been one attempt in Congress to do away with these funds. Actually, the president wanted to do away with these funds and asked Congress, and they did not do it this go-around. I'll let Jim go through the details of this thing, but and Jim, if you would talk about why we need to do this now versus the risk that we run of not doing it.
As President Ricks indicated, both the Obama administration and the Trump administration have tried to defund this. This is the Gulf of Mexico Energy Sharing Act. It was passed several years ago, and basically what it does is it allows, or it requires, the federal government to share the offshore leasing revenues with the coastal communities. So most of the coastal communities in Louisiana are getting portions of this money. The money could be eliminated by a president or Congress. They could just say, we're not going to do that anymore. It could also be eliminated by some sort of Deepwater Horizon event, as happened in the Gulf of Mexico several years ago, and there could be a ban or moratorium on offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. If that happens, the money gets turned off. The way the money is coming in, it comes into the Go Mesa Big Fund, and then it's divvied up between the states and down to the parishes. The way it comes in, originally it comes in from leasing, from the initial lease, or the right to bid on the lease, to buy the lease, for the right to drill. That's the first way money gets into the pot. The second way money gets into the pot is from the ongoing oil revenues generated by the lease. So right now, the mix of money in the Go Mesa pot is about half and half, 50-50, from one-time lease payments where they bid on the lease, they won the lease, they paid the royalty, and about half the money in there is from ongoing oil revenue production. That will shift over time, and over time, more and more and more of the money will be from producing wells, because it takes about 5 years from the time a company wins a lease on a field to the time they start producing. So the amount of money available to the coastal communities is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. With that comes potentially more of a political threat for the government looking for money or way to grab money. So about 2 months ago, my firm was the first firm in the world, or in America for sure, to pull off a bond issue for Cameron Parish. And what they did was we said, look, you're scheduled to get about $700,000 a year over the next 20 years. That's what you're going to get if some administration doesn't turn it off, if there's not some big blow up in oil drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. In lieu of that, you can borrow against that stream of revenue and get an upfront one-time sum now. For Livingston Parish, it would wind up being about $7.5 million. After the $7.5 million, if Livingston Parish, so they'll get $7.5 million up front. After that, if they continue to get their normal distributions they've been getting, they'll get about an extra $300,000 a year also on top of that, after they make their debt service payments. Okay, so what's basically happened here is you can take $700,000 in a stream of income for an uncertain amount of time, or you can say, I want my $7.5 million up front, and after I pay the loan back, I'm still going to have about $300,000 a year if everything stays the same. If the money gets turned off, if the Trump administration or the next administration or Congress says, we're not giving any more money to these coastal communities, you don't have to pay the loan back. You're not liable for it. It doesn't hurt your bond rating. It doesn't hurt your bonding capacity. It's simply too bad you don't pay. If it gets turned off for 2 or 3 years and then it gets turned back on, you start making the payments again. It is anticipated that in 2023, the amount of money, if it continues, will grow substantially. There's a new cap on how much you can get, and it'll go from about $700,000 a year to about $1.3 million a year if everything continues to move. And the reason for that is what I alluded to earlier. It will become more and more ongoing revenue from producing leases into the pot of money to be held. So the reasons that parishes are doing this, and Cameron Parish has already done it. They were the first one to complete one. Cameron Parish is moving forward. I think they're on the bond commission, or they were on the bond commission this month. Tangipahoa Parish is doing it. Lafourche Parish, we've been talking to them. We've been talking to Plaquemine Parish. We have been talking to St. Tammany Parish. Been talking to St. Bernard Parish. All of them have expressed interest in it. They want to know more about it, but they like the idea because it's basically a hedge. It's a hedge that you won't get non-appropriated and your money goes away. You're going to get a chunk of your money, and if the money is non-appropriated and it goes away, you don't have to pay it back. It doesn't hurt your credit rating. It doesn't hurt your bond rating. That's basically as President Rick said, the money is pretty limited on what you can do with it. It's basically coastal erosion, flood control, flood mitigation, anything to repair something that was damaged by a hurricane, anything to aid in a hurricane event. Some of the other communities are talking about doing things like a shelter, an evacuation shelter, cleaning out dredging rivers, stuff like that. So it's pretty broad, but it's got to be used either for coastal erosion and protection or for some kind of hurricane repair or hurricane prevention. Clearly, I think Mr. Ricks has this idea drainage is the problem in this community we have to look at.
We're going to use this for the mouth of the Snake River with some funds that we've not been able to get, mixed with some funds that we have been able to get. For the first time ever with this lump sum, we can actually go in and do a major drainage project there. Move things around, dredge, which you cannot use the federal funds for. These funds can be used for things like that. So it's going to make it possible to do this project that we've been talking about. I know Mark has talked to you all about it several times. It's going to make it possible for the first time ever to be able to actually go in and do this project. And what a better time on the heels of what we went through in August of 2016. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about being able to do this project. These kind of things don't come along very often. So I would like to tap into it, and I would like with y'all's support to tap into it, and let's get after it.
And what you have in front of you tonight is a resolution basically authorizing us to go to the bond commission, make application to the bond commission, get approval of the bond commission. We'll still have to come back to you 2 other times with with an ordinance to introduce and an ordinance to adopt. So this probably, you're looking at really actually having the money in, we're hoping for early December. And there's a reason we're hoping for early December. It's because, as you all know, the Fed raised rates yesterday. They're very likely to raise rates at the end of December as well. So we're trying to get this closed and done 1st of December-ish. Because the lower the interest rate, the more money you get, the higher it less.
So basically, this is a resolution to proceed with the application to basically apply for this.
And if it doesn't, if for some reason the market tanks, or if for some reason when the federal budget comes out, they say there's no more money, blah, blah, blah. If we haven't closed the bonds, you don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe the lawyers anything, you don't owe me anything, you don't owe the bankers anything. So until we put the money in the bank, you can say, nope, don't want to do this, or if the market explodes and we can't do it, you don't owe anybody anything. None of us work hourly, we all work transactionally if the transaction closes.
Jim, we currently get what, 700,000 a year from Go Mesa? About?
It's about,
Close to it.
yeah, about 700,000.
So we're gonna give up 14 million to get 7.5?
No, because you would still get the additional.
300,000 a year for me.
What's 7.5 gonna cost us a year?
Total debt service, 7.5 is $11 million.
Over the life of the 20 years, 7.5 is 11 million. So you're telling me that investors are gonna buy these bonds for Go Mesa to pay them, and we get the excess over the note. And if Go Mesa it doesn't get funded, we don't owe them any money.
That's what I'm telling you.
What would 7.5 million normally cost us over a 20-year life if it was a regular bond
The
transaction?
Cameron Parish bonds priced at around $575, I think. You know, if this was a sewer revenue bond right now, you'd probably be paying in the 4.5% range. I'm doing a utility revenue bond right now, a refund for St. Tammany Parish. And it's a utility revenue refund bond, and I think the all-in cost on that's in like the 4.5% range.
So what is one? And we're talking about a difference of what? 1.25%.
You're probably looking at a difference, let's just say 1.5.
So what's 1.5 on 7.5 million cost us over 20 years?
I don't know what the spread is. I can tell you what we project the interest cost would be, about $3.5 million.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out the difference between a regular bond at 7.5 million over 20 years versus this Go Mesa bond.
Let's say
over-
let's say 1.5% of $3.5 million.
I think the big difference is that if over, we don't have to pay it back.
Do you think those investors are going to buy these bonds if they think it's not going to get funded?
No, they know it's gonna be funded.
I mean, Jim can't sell them if he don't think it's going to be funded for 20 years.
Yeah.
Actually, the difference is about $52,000.
How much?
A month?
No, on the total carry. 1.5% of $3.5 million is $52,000.
So you're telling me on a $7.5 million bond for 20 years, the difference between us selling them outright and doing the Go Mesa deal is only $52,000 at 1.5%?
That's per year.
It's
It's 52,000 a year.
Yes, I'm sorry, it's $52,000 a year. So your net interest, the difference between, let's say, a sewer revenue bond and this,
$500,000,
about $1.5 million.
$1.5 million. So basically, the investors to take the risk on the Go Mesa are making another $1.5 million.
Let me tell you why they're buying these. That's the main reason, yield. And as you know, you've got investments more in a really low yield environment. But one of the main reasons that they're willing to buy these is because the underwriter, Wells Fargo, is a huge, as you know, is a huge firm. And typically for all, I'm sorry, Gary, I should not.
Oh, that's fine. That don't bother me. I didn't want to put that on my signs anyway. They made
Apologize
it.
to
So.
Councilman Talbot. Typically, Councilman Talbot, when, for example, some of these CDD bonds out here collapsed in 2008, and there were bonds out typically those investors, the first thing they do, so now I have a bond that was worth $10,000 yesterday, and today it's worth maybe $4,000, okay? Typically what those investors, the first thing they do is they call the underwriter, Cruz and Associates, and say, will you buy these bonds back from me? And that's a classic example of what happened in car plantation. They sold the bonds when the thing was doing well, the market collapsed. Cruz bought the bonds back from the investors and then sold them to other investors for $4,600. One of the main reasons that you can do this, and this is, you're not going to see a small firm like Cruz or Raymond James or D.A. Davidson or something like that do these. Because the firms that are going to get these done are like the Wells Fargo's of the world, because in the event that the money's not appropriated or the program is killed, the first thing that's going to happen is those investors are going to go back to a Wells Fargo or a Citibank or something like that and say, give me something for them. So that it is primarily the reward they're getting is the higher interest rate, but the other thing is by doing it with these big, huge national firms, they get some kind of assurance that, let's say they cut the money in half. Let's say they cut your allocation to $350 a year. These big national firms are going to the investors are going to go back to them and say, look, we want to sell them back to you. I know we're not going to get 100 cents on the dollar, but can we get something?
Okay. So basically, when you say not to exceed 9 million, that's not $1.5 million up front for fees, is it?
I wish.
I hear you. I'm trying to figure why we went to 9 million on that number. I mean, I just.
We went to 9 million on the number because it's 7.5 million gross. And we always round it up. We always, because Frog, if it comes in and we get our first payment next year, it looks like we're going to get way more next year, and we can go to 8.7 or something, we'll do it. But it's like the interest rate. We always put a extremely high interest rate in that not to exceed resolution. We always put a longer term than we think we're going to need. We always put way more than we think we're going to need. Because the problem is let's say that we find out this fall that yeah, the next spring payment is going to be, instead of 7 million, it's going to be 900,000, and we can get to 900 or 9 million. If we didn't put it in there, we can't do it. We've got to start the whole process
I got
over again, and then we're 3 Fed rates into
Right.
a year.
So in essence, what you're basing is that you think our first year payment will be 700,000, and as they reduce over the time, that's when we'll get the surplus of the go base of money if it's continued to be funded.
What's going to happen is we think that the amount you get over time is going to slowly ramp up.
Based on the cost of crude and
this
all.
is another answer to your question. So there's a turbo provision in this, and this is probably something you've never heard me talk about this. If the amount starts ramping up, and let's say that we issue the $7.5 million, and let's say you get $700,000 now, let's say the next 2 or 3 years you start getting $900,000. So that's an extra $200,000. The way that's going to work is you're going to take $100,000 of that, you're going to pay down bonds, and that's called a turbo provision. So if you get extra money, you turbocharge that debt service payment. The other half of the excess goes to y'all, goes in your pocket. You do whatever you want to do. And that gives the investors some comfort as well, because everyone kind of thinks that over the next few years, the amount of revenue that's available to the coastal community is going to increase, because it's going to become more and more dependent upon ongoing production of the wells.
Okay, so we're gonna okay.
You're
So
going to
let's,
want to buy some of these, aren't you?
huh?
You're gonna
No,
want
I'm just trying to. I just really. I mean, I didn't know what actuary to call. I just was curious about what the discount, what the discount the parish was taking to get the money up front. So Mark, what we gonna spend $7.5 million on? You got all those projects lined out? I mean, can we earmark them in this resolution?
We said you're gonna use it for the.
Well, I don't think the AME was a $7.5 million project, was it?
It's not, we talked about the AMET
And the
for
blind,
several years.
yeah.
And you got the blind
And the
river.
blind
The
river.
blind river's gonna be more costly than the AMET, it's a lot more silted in.
Those are the two major projects I want to do with
We
this.
were talking about doing it, but we were gonna have to piecemeal. So this will help us go ahead and get the projects done, but, the only thing I can tell you is the AMET River is the only one we focused on and have a good game plan, because I figured the funding was coming at $750,000 a year, and we have to piecemeal it forever, so we haven't really focused. We know that's a good project, we know it's an acceptable project with the grant. After that, we're waiting on the Corps. Denbury with DOT and stuff is doing some surveying and stuff on the Amite River now. We know there's some other silted in areas that we can come back later and grab them. Same way with the blind, they're doing those. I think the best focus with this funding is drainage all the way around. So if we can grab some and take care of some of the silting along the way after we get the 2 mounts done, I think that's what I would do with it. In my opinion, that's what I would do, because there's no other funding out there that we could do that with. I can't touch it with hazard mitigation funding because it doesn't qualify. I've tried everything. That's why I was so excited a year ago when we knew this was coming. But right now I can't give you a price other than I'm around $1 million, $1.5 million shy of completing the Amite River. We're using 2 different funding sources right now. The Go Mesa would fill in with the restore funding.
So if we did this and we got $7.5 million, you'd take the first $1.5 million basically to finish the Amite River.
Correct.
Then the next $6 million is gonna be spent.
Then we'll swap over to the
Blind River.
The Blind River. Now, I'm gonna tell you, it's probably 5 times the amount of silting on the Blind River. So,
A lot wider area.
yeah, it's gonna take.
We don't know
more
if
to
it'll
do
be
that
enough
one
money
than
to do the
Amite
whole
River.
thing.
And then by that time, by the end of December this year, we should have all the information that the Corps, DOTD with Denbury and all of them have done to make an educated decision on what you want to do with the rest of the funding, moving out those 2 rivers.
Is that model that DOT's been talking about, is it finished yet?
No, but it's getting close. It's getting very close. It should be completed and available for viewing around December.
That's the one at LSU, Mark, that LSU
People will
got.
go on site with LSU, they'll be the owners of it or the caretaker of it.
So
We can go and look at it.
So if that, when that model comes into place, can then we theoretically plug what we would project to do at the Blind River and see what the results would be on that deal? I mean, is that what the model's designed for? To do, I mean, it's supposedly if you do something within the Amite River Basin, it's supposed to give you the impact against everybody in the basin.
That's the best case scenario.
I mean, because when we asked them about the dam at the JP conference, they didn't have an answer. I mean, I
I can tell you.
First of all, that's not what we call it.
He said that. You call it that.
What you're gonna get out of that is it would be a lot of information for the engineering firm that's gonna do it to pull from to start doing calculations. I don't think you're gonna be able to plug anything in and get the answer. I just don't see it happening.
okay.
It would cost the state 50 times the amount of money that they're spending. But it would save us as a parish and the engineering firm from having to do all of that. So it's a jump start for us. It really is.
So you feel that if we do this $7.5 million will get absorbed in the Amite and Blind River, and it'll all be gone after that, or will there be some left over at the end? Best guess.
I will tell you that you're not going to complete the Amite River and the Blind River on everything that will need to be done with $7.5 million.
He said he's about $1 million short, $1.5 million, you think?
We're $1.5 million short just to do the mouth.
Just to
of
finish
Amite.
the mouth of the Amite.
So-
Then you have to move over to the mouth of the Blind River, which is going to be more expensive. Then you will have funding left over. But once you leave the mouth of both of those rivers and start north, you're going to run into some high areas. Some areas that's silted in. I mean, the bottom is like this, and that's what the study that's being done now is going to tell us. The goal is to get it out, and we're also, what we're doing and planned now is limiting ourselves at the mouth. Wouldn't it be nice to channelize just a little bit more out into the lake to get that water on out and flowing south? I mean,
Yeah.
but we're limited right now.
So in your vast expertise, Mr. Harrell, this is something that we should proceed with?
I will tell you I need the funding to produce what we've talked about. I'm gonna tell you that. We need it.
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution to allow the.
Don't earmark it. Don't
Can't
earmark
do
it.
that.
Not in this resolution.
So I'll make a motion that we proceed with the resolution to allow the parish president to
Okay.
enter that.
In the silting of the Amite River and Blind River, where the weir is, where on the diversion canal. I know I was raised down there, but it's a lot shallower now from silt, from the weir on down, back out to, yeah, all the way down to the lake.
You're talking 90 years, it's just.
Thank you.
About 70.
I'll second.
All right, I got a motion
I'll
from
get a
Mr.
second.
I got a motion from Mr. Gardenhouse, a second from Mr.
I
Talbot.
was beginning to worry if I was going to get a second.
Well, no, we just want to let Bubba finish talking
There,
about how that
any
is.
comment from the audience on
I hate
this?
you, Tracy.
You will comment from the council. Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ard,
Yes.
Mr. Lovell,
Yes.
Mr. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Hey, see, I told you we were going to drag it out.
I'll see that. All right. Item 7, presentation.
No,
Ms.
but
Tammy
you just
Crawford.
carried it. You just happened to be the dragger. It was inside joke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh.
Fellow councilmen. I'm Tammy Crawford. This is my partner, Lisa McCarter. I met her as my son was a gifted student through Westside Junior High, and she began taking tours all over the United States. And so we went to Memphis, and, well, I'll let her give those details. But during the travel, my son really began to explore and be responsible for his own self. We did fundraisers on these local trips. So they fundraised out of our pockets and we paid for it to go to the local ones. But now we're attempting to step into the next one and make it really more memorable and valuable to the experience, and we're going to go to Italy. So this is Lisa.
Okay, I always tell my students that because they're gifted and highly intelligent, I tell them you're either cure cancer smart or you're Unabomber smart. And after the kind of chuckle dies down, we talk about gifted kids, their brains have to remain engaged in order for them to be productive. I mean, all kids do, but gifted kids are my babies. So that's what I worry about the most. So I want them focused. I tell them my job is to make sure that they cure cancer or whatever other phenomenal thing that they want to do with their life. I want to keep them engaged and going in the right direction so that they don't, go off to the dark side there. And that's what got me traveling with students. We studied the Holocaust for, I did it for 3 years, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade when I was there. And I wanted them for that experience to come to life for them. So I started with the Holocaust Museum in Houston. And they saw the power of hate. And they experienced it firsthand. They met survivors. I've taken them to meet survivors. We've gone to conferences and done all sorts of things. They met Eva Core, who was a Dr. Mengele twin. She was experimented on. So they really got to meet these people, but with Eva Core, they got to see the power of forgiveness and the power of love, because she has forgiven her oppressors. All right, that led me to, believe it or not, New York. We went to the 9/11 memorial. They met survivors or family members of survivors who did our tour for us. They did a ton of things there, Broadway shows and all of that. But they again saw the power of hate. And I try to always tell them that they need to use their powers for good and not evil. They're very powerful, and they need to use it for good and not evil. One of the good, you've heard a couple of the evil that they've seen, and some of the good, but one of the good, we went to Memphis and we toured the Danny Thomas Pavilion. My kids wanted to, well, I wanted them to too. We wanted to volunteer, but they're too young. Middle school students are too young. So we did the Danny Thomas Pavilion. I had students come to me after and say, oh my gosh, this is where I'm going to work. Did you read this? Did you see this? And they would call me all over that movie. Come and look at this, Miss McCarter. Come look at this. And I did it. And I'm telling you, that kid, I wouldn't surprise me if one day she didn't cure cancer. That's her heart's desire now. This opened their eyes. This travel opens their eyes. Travel's good for all kids. For gifted kids, it's exponentially more. It makes them global learners. It makes them more aware of what's going on around them. We started talking about Italy and the history there. and to keep those children engaged. And I hope that one day, you know, like I said, one day they will be Cure Cancer Smart. And so that's our goal, is to keep them engaged and going. And I went with older kids this time. I want to go with former students so they can network. So we're doing high school and up. I've got college students going this year.
And our goal here was to bring it forth in front of you, because you all cover districts. So when you're out in that community and you're spreading the word, or you're talking to parents with that, you have our connections now in all of your packets. There's our flyer that tells about our nonprofit organization, Gifted Kids Travel. We're going to do multiple fundraisers. Our first fundraiser is a clay shoot next Friday. It's October 5th. Then we're going to do, Chili's has given us 3 give back nights. We're going to do a golf tournament in March. If you're able to participate in any of that or spread the word on behalf of it, these children will be there fundraising themselves if it's after hours, not during school. And that's all. We just want to get the word out to you guys, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy, is it from the Crawfords or the Palmers?
Sir,
Your kid, Crawfords or the Palmers, he got it from?
he got it from me.
There you
He
go.
got it from me, Jeff, from the Palmers. Actually, his daddy is very intelligent as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right,
Good to see
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. That clay shoot will humble you right down, guys. Go out there and shoot that.
I'm actually shooting Friday.
Yeah, I'm
so
shooting it. I'm shooting it as well, so it'll
That's next time.
next Friday.
Next Friday, October 5th.
Yeah.
I'm shooting.
It's a Walker High graduate, by the way.
Yeah.
Just letting y'all know.
Walker High graduate. All right,
But
let's move on to item 8.
that doesn't mean a whole lot.
Scooter,
Never being
you're
a graduate at all, I'm sure
so
would help.
I know, that's what I
well,
mean.
I mean, adoption of the minutes, we can do all these same time. We got September 13th, 2018, the Board of Review meeting, September 13th, 2018, Jubilee Crossing Community Development District meeting, and September 13th, 2018, regular meeting of the council.
I make a motion that we.
Motion from Mr. Gardenhouse, second from Mr. King. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, item 10, our favorite Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness person.
Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, council, how are y'all?
We're good.
Good. It's very simple tonight. I'm just asking for the authorization for Mr. Layton to sign an addendum for the Forest Delat project with DOTD. A little dangerous. They need to acquire a little bit more right away and put in some subsurface drainage stuff, make it a little bit easier on us. This is going to be what it's going to take to get to the point. However, there's some MOUs being signed now on donations of property. We may end up with one piece of property that will have to be acquired, and it could cost you another $20,000. But that should be everything to complete this project.
This is our match on that project?
Now, we have to pay for a percentage of the construction and all the engineering. That's just the way the ground works.
This is MOP money, right?
Yes, MPO.
MPO money.
Yep.
I'll offer that.
Motion from Mr. Harris,
I'll second.
second from Mr. Gardenhouse. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
There's two feet up.
Frog, I love you.
I hope so.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right, Mark, talk to you next week. Yeah.
All right, item 11, ratify the renumbering of LPR number 18-273, revising the 2018 Livingston Parish Road Improvement Program, Road Analysis and Assessment, 3-year priority road list.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Taylor, did you have to say anything, or?
This, go ahead, Bill. I mean, this
It's just put it, it's the same thing y'all voted on last week, it's just actually put it in the list. Y'all, we made a motion last week to move a couple roads around, so this is actually just putting it in the list. So,
Okay.
remember adding Desperhan and then swapping the ones in Denham?
I'll second.
Renumbering, so we got a motion from Mr. Talbot, second from Mr. King. Any comments from the public on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12, we are now entering a public hearing. This is adoption of LP ordinance number 18-22, provision of entrances and exits in subdivisions.
Shane,
Man, when you gonna have a meeting? When do we think we're gonna have a committee?
18th.
the 18th?
Is that too late?
No, we just gotta table it 2 meetings. That's not, I mean, it's not a big deal. We just need to have that meeting before we do this.
Okay, let's do, you want to do this one next Thursday and do the junk car ordinance the 18th?
Fine with me. I mean,
We already did the junk car.
No, we still working on it.
We're still working on junk cars?
oh my God.
Probably working on ponds too.
Well, we know we can't go on private property to remove them. That's my.
No, we're not, no. I make a motion that we defer this 2 meetings. With Ms. Sandy, what's the date of 2 meetings?
We might not know that yet.
October,
Oh, we have October 11th.
Yeah,
Be
it's
the
the 25th.
25th?
25th.
October
So the
25th?
18th would be
You good with that?
yeah.
So
I'm good. I just wanna be sure we're gonna introduce one tonight, and then we're gonna be sure that we address them both and pass them as a package.
So I make a motion that we defer this to the October 25th meeting.
All right, motion by Mr. Garlinghouse.
Second.
Second by Mr. Talbot. Any comment from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Got some good reasons right on this.
Item 13.
Close the public hearing. Did we close the public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I didn't read it, but we're deferring it, so.
We deferred it. We're now closing the public hearing. Item 13, a resolution reducing the speed limit from 20 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour on all streets and roads in Grays Creek subdivision. Mr. Wascom, I think Mr. Harris is going to handle it.
John's out of the state tonight, so he asked me to handle this for him. And he meant to do this at the last meeting whenever they had the stop signs, the 3-way stop signs and all put in, but he forgot about it. And then the homeowner association come back to him and wanted to reduce the speed limit on all the streets in the subdivision from 20 to 15 miles an hour.
I got a vehicle won't even idle at 50.
Well, I know,
Me too.
but
That's crazy.
that's the
I mean-
homeowner association won't.
I guess well,
Yeah.
I do that differently.
It don't matter.
So did Mr. Wascom say that he's
He's for this?
He's for
Yeah.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm all for that. for
You
him.
offering a motion?
I'll second it.
I got a motion from Mr. Harris, second from Mr. King. Any comment from the public on this?
I'm gonna get a ticket if I ever go.
No, you're not.
Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
They
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Louisville.
Yes.
Mr. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yeah.
Mr. King.
Yes. You know he got some choices. That's what he wants.
All right, item 14, Gravity Drainage District Number 7 Board Reappointment, Mr. Mack.
Yeah, it seemed like yesterday we created this board and appointed all the board members, and here we are, reappointments. But W.C. Needham was on that board and fought hard to get us funding established, and we fell a little short there, but this time we still want this board to exist, and I recommend that we reappoint him. So I make a motion that we reappoint W.C. Needham. It was just south of the interstate, right here in Albany, to the Gravity Drainage District number 7.
I'll second.
Motion from Mr. Mack, second from Mr. Talbot. I'm sorry. Mr. Lobel. Well, they've been doing all the work tonight, I mean.
That hurt tab, I can tell you.
I'd like to knock him out of his chair.
I had to wake them up somehow. Huh? Any comment from the public
He's
on
just
this?
thinking about you.
All in favor? All opposed?
Oh, Lordy.
Item 15, adopt a resolution to name an unnamed road, Dogwood Way, located off of Bees Nursery Road in Council District 9. Mr. Mack.
You got roads that ain't named down there still?
Dude, we done named one road off of Bee's Nursery already, I think, so this term. Had we, Shane?
They just build
We
roads
did
and
something on
whatever.
Bee's Nursery once already.
There's a Bees Nursery Road off of Old Baton Rouge Highway out there in the Albany district there. And this here particular road is a blacktop dead-end road with 8 lots on it. And one of the constituents that lives on the road wanted to actually name the road and change the addresses. And so she followed all the rules she was supposed to follow, got the signatures, documentation that she needed to get, and I'd like to make a motion that we name this unnamed road to Dogwood Way.
Motion from Mr. Mack,
I'll second Mr. Mack's motion.
second by Mr. Talbot. Any comment from the public on this?
I have a comment. By what standard y'all name roads over there? I'm just curious because they
You're
got
kind of running out of names. so-
Y'all come over here.
I didn't even think.
It's actually the same one that the entire parish uses. It's the same.
No, I didn't think. I thought we were done naming with trees, though. I'm surprised. I guess Dogwood the flower too. I guess.
You're not
It's a flowering
Critter
tree.
Cove in my.
Well, I know Critter Cove's coming, isn't it?
Critter Cove.
Very deep.
All right, all in favor? All opposed?
Oh, a lot of work this name.
All right, item 16, establish Hill and Hood Road as a no-truck route. Mr. R.C. Bubba Harris.
Yes, I had that put on the agenda. Hill and Hood Road is a real small, narrow road that the dirt trucks is torn up for all practical reasons, but now they have log trucks going down that road also. And
They got trees.
oh, what? Oh, and I want to put a no truck route sign on each end of that road. And I'm all for that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mr. Harris, second from Mr. King.
Bless
Any
you.
comment from the public on this? Yes, sir. State your name and address.
Jonathan Appleton from 33429 Duff Road. So if you have a truck route, no truck route, how are the 18-wheelers going to get around the route that they already use? When you're decreasing the capability of commercial assets.
They're supposed to use state highways when available.
Right.
All of them. Every truck.
I mean, Hill and Hood, is it a loop road, Bubba? Is it a dead end, or is it loop back around to another state highway? Where does it
No,
go?
it's from state to state.
From state highway to state highway?
Yeah. So you can just
And
cut through
even
right
though
here.
it's a no truck route, if they're going to cut logs off of Hill and Hood, they're still gonna
But
have
they're not
access.
cutting them off of Hill and Hood.
They're cutting through.
Yeah,
on it.
they're cutting through with it.
Yeah, when work is on that road, they'll still.
Yeah.
They'll still have access to it.
So that's the same
Still have
problem we're
access,
having on
yeah.
Park.
I mean, we have a lot of roads. I can tell you right now, South Satsuma Road is a no truck route.
Okay.
And we
So-
have
And Parker
trucks
Road
on
will
all
be
the
in a few
time.
weeks.
Road, dude.
So if you're cutting wood, logs or anything like that, I'm sure you have to pull a permit, which the permit
I got
gives
determined
you,
to take care of that.
yes.
Yeah, give you access to those roads.
All right, thank you, sir.
Any more comment? All in favor? All opposed?
17.
All right, item 17.
We're-
You pulling that?
Yeah.
All right, item 17 has been pulled. Item 18, discuss the upcoming trunk or treat event at South Park.
Well, I know
Is it at North Park or South?
South Park.
South Park.
It says North Park right here.
I know.
We have to
It
re-enter
was
this
a
into
typo.
the agenda.
That's all.
We got to lift the agenda to hear about the trunk or treat at North South Park.
Yeah.
Paper wrote that.
It's a whole different deal here, Sandy. We changing the whole concept of what we're doing.
You don't even know how true that is.
No.
Can we discuss the trunk or treat at South Park when the agenda says we're gonna discuss the one at North Park?
Move to amend the agenda.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Anyway, I
I'm
just
sorry,
say,
Sandy. I
We just
couldn't
play it,
resist.
it's okay.
We're just talking about it anyway.
yeah. And
We'll just put it in the comments.
I just want to keep this reminder out there before the people that we still need volunteers to help with the trunk or treat.
And money.
And money and candy, whatever. Yeah, well, we accept anything.
I want people to participate. Please
Yes.
come out. I'm coming all the way back from an elk hunt as fast as I can, just so I can get to that.
Bless your heart.
That's what the Twix fan.
But, that's all I have. I just wanted to bring that up one more time. And it'll be on the agenda at the next meeting.
All right. Item 19, district attorney report.
That's Halloween night, right?
Nothing to report.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Item 20, committee report. Mr. Mack?
Yeah, well, didn't we decide earlier that we were going to table this introduction of this particular ordinance?
Yes.
I think we're gonna introduce this one so that we're gonna introduce this one to be heard on the 28th,
So we can do them at the same time.
on the 25th, so we can do them both at the same time. We gotta go ahead and get it introduced, then we can amend it at the committee meeting, then we can hear it on the 28th, 5th. I know you don't wanna pass it, but let's introduce it and then see what happens.
All right. All right.
It'll be fine, Shane. It'll be fine.
All right, so I guess Sandy needs to read the ordinance, right?
This is the proposed ordinance 18-23, an ordinance to amend Article 4 of Chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish, Planning and Development, amendment Section 13-54 streets, making provisions for the continuation of existing streets and adjoining areas on each side of the development. The public hearing will be on October 11, 2016.
Okay, and the only other thing I wanted to say, well, on that, but I don't really have nothing to say on that at the moment, to be honest with you, the introduction of that particular ordinance. But I do have some things to say after we just vote on this.
I make the motion to introduce that deal.
A second.
All right. Motion from Mr. Talbot, second from Mr. King. Any comment from the public on this? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, Mr. Mack, you have some other business on your committee?
Well, yeah, we talked about having an ordinance committee meeting on the 18th, right? I just
Yes,
want to
sir.
apologize for having to cancel that last ordinance committee meeting. Some things popped up and I was unavailable, and I apologize for having to cancel that meeting to the residents of Livingston Parish. But we're going to have an ordinance committee meeting on the 18th at 6 o'clock. And we're going to discuss that junk car ordinance, wrap that up, and then we're going to discuss
Connectivity.
connectivity of subdivisions and
I like
2 entrance and exits to subdivisions with 200 lights or more.
All right.
So we're not having anything on the 4th next week? Okay, good. Thank you.
All right.
Also, I'd like to point out their little honesty. I couldn't have made that ordinance committee meeting either.
Well,
So I was jammed up out of town working, so part of me was like, whew, when you took the bullet for that one, I was like,
they already weren't gonna have a quorum because I'd already told them I wasn't coming. Then they told me you weren't coming, it was canceled. So it all worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was gonna
Then
be.
John wasn't coming, and then I said, well, no need me going to sit there by
Well,
myself.
John wasn't coming, wasn't no great loss. It was the rest of them.
Kick him when he's down.
That's usually when y'all talk about it what we miss. Wait until y'all miss. You don't know.
All right. Item 20B, Finance Committee.
well, we got nothing to report, nothing new to report. The finances are
The finance.
better than projected, so.
Why you want to keep saying it?
Because it's true. I mean, we got the flood hurt us, but we're in better position than we thought we were projected to be.
Goes on yays.
All right. Item 21, councilman comments.
I want to apologize to John. He wasn't here and I shouldn't have said that.
He wouldn't expect anything less, so it's okay.
Mr. Lobel, you have any comment?
Well, since you put me on the spot, my daughter has an interview with LSU Dental tomorrow, and I want everybody to say a little prayer for her tonight.
Certainly will.
She is
Good luck.
nervous, but she's gonna do fine. She's smart like her mama. So,
There you go.
works out.
Live Oak hosts Denham tomorrow night at the Eagle's Nest.
That'll be funny.
All right.
What's Walker doing?
Walker travels to Scotlandville.
What's Albany doing?
Albany, I think they're homecoming this morning. They're at
Homecoming tomorrow night?
Homecoming.
Yeah, homecoming at home tomorrow night.
Tell them they get all their dresses dirty.
What's Springfield doing?
Let's go
They,
back.
going to Pine.
Going to Pine.
Fine, yeah.
Wish all the Livingston Parish teams except Denham good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Hey, you made a bet last year and you had to wear,
I did. I wore a denim jersey.
Here.
I wore a denim jersey last year, and some Walker guys wore some denim Live Oak jerseys last year.
Look,
It certainly did.
I proudly wore a Live Oak jersey. I refuse to wear a denim jersey. Wait a minute.
But he would not wear a volleyball shirt and spandex.
I'm gonna tell you what. There's no way I can play volleyball. I can tell you.
If they got one that'll fit us, I'll put it on. It ain't gonna be pretty.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion from Mr. Talbot to adjourn, second by Mr.
Something
Harris.
good.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Part of the question, what time is trunk or treat?
Oh, 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Yes. The
We
31st.
used to call the Tangipahoa Parish Council and Carl Brewer, the several county most controversial thing we ever had to discuss was when having trick or treat.
We never gonna have that because it's on the 31st.
It's on the 31st.
And if anybody.
Every Halloween.